And welcome back to Bring Back the Red and Black. After a week hiatus for the bye, which was glorious, we're back. I'm your host, Ryan Coed, and with me, as always, is the People's President, Don Shell.
Ryan, it's good to be back. How good would it be if we had like a 3-week bye?
Amazing.
And like we could just fully relax as Essendon fans, because the off-season is our best time as a season. And so just having the 1 week off is actually quite depressing.
Perpetual off-season would be fantastic.
Yeah. We never play.
Yeah,
we never play. It's just simmed games. We just play essentially AFL live with the list that we have.
Or just hearing that so-and-so is doing great on the track.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we hear. And it gets fed into our ear
Jake
like a little mic
Stringer's
piece.
fitter than ever.
Yeah. Instead, we have 1 week off, and then we have one of the worst games of all time. But we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah, should we start? We'll go through the...
Yeah, so as for those who haven't listened to Bring Back the Red and Black, and it's great to have the producer in studio with us, the Oracle himself. He just really pulls the strings behind the scene and sometimes in front of the scene. But quarter one is a review of the game. Again, potentially one of the worst games of all time versus North. Quarter two is a preview of the upcoming game against the Saints at our favourite place, Docklands, in Docklands. And then quarter three is the Fix My Club / off-field section. We've got a really exciting segment that is very topical.
Very topical, yeah. And it's the reason for the delay in the pod this week. So we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We might not even mention what it is now, but that's the segment. And then quarter four has been various sort of nostalgic moments, top fives. We had the memorabilia week, which people are still talking about. But we are going to do Don's Mailbag this week. And what would the Don do for the rest of the season? So there you have it. We're really just trying to bring back the passion to the red and black and obviously see if we can get me into the presidency role 2030 and beyond so we can hopefully impact some successful change.
Maybe earlier at this rate.
Maybe earlier at this rate.
All right, blow the siren. Let's get into quarter one.
There it is, the siren. Thanks, Oracle. It's good to have you in the studio. So, did you go to the game, Ryan?
I did go to the game.
Why is my first question.
20-minute tram down Brunswick Street to get there for me.
Yep.
Yes, nice. Went with the old man. Got hooked up with Medallion Club tickets. Not by the club, by a fan. No, not a fan. I've never been Medallion Club. It's great.
It is great. It doesn't make the loss easier to swallow.
No, because I could see better. And I
so you could see the breakdown in systems better.
Yeah, so I really wish I watched this on some grainy footage, or like you on the plane.
Yes.
Business class?
Yeah, not business class. Economy, I think I was 43D.
Great.
Qatar, I always do recommend. It's really nice economy. But yeah, I think I had a few weird looks from people going to the bathroom, seeing Essendon North on KO Sports being VPN'd in to watch the game. That's one of the most depressing moments of my life. Like I've already missed the game, to go back and just re-watch it while everyone else is trying to sleep. Yeah, it was a pretty low moment.
Yeah, I'm guilty of re-watching games we win, but never when we lose.
But if I'm going to be the president, I'm going to have to sit through a lot of shit. And so I'm just trying to condition myself to do that. And certainly sitting through that game was just incredible.
What were your goods?
Goods. Look, obvious. Sam Durham.
Yeah.
I think I've been a bit hard on Sam Durham this year, but mainly because I think he has this incredible talent. And even guys like Kane Corns have come out in the media and said, he has the bona fide superstar talent. He just does. And it makes me even more worried that we're going to waste another player of that caliber because we don't have many of them. He's one of a few on the list that can reach this echelon where they can actually change a game.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to do that. So just to remind ourselves that we have someone like that on the list that we're probably going to lose to Geelong or Hawthorn is great. To Huss, I actually think he's a proper goal sneak. There's none of this big fanfare around him like Kako or Caddy. But he just the role of a small forward is to kick goals. I can't be told otherwise. I don't need any other metrics. I just need kick goals. And when I look up, you're chasing. And I think he has the ability to do that.
He did half of that.
He did half of that. He didn't chase.
Yeah.
But at least he kicks goals.
But 2 goals is good enough to be in your top 3 things from the game.
Yeah. It is, but that's the game. We had 5 goals up until forget the fourth quarter. You remember my metric about when games are in the balance or not? It's almost like they shouldn't have played that fourth quarter. Nothing mattered. Us getting within 13 points meant nothing. The game was done at the start of the fourth quarter. None of those stats should count when you're looking at the stat sheet. Outside of that, I honestly don't have too many positives. I thought there were so many underwhelming performances. I'm trying to think of anything that really stands out. Maybe that we didn't get belted. Like that's pretty much it. What do you have?
Sharp, the way he attacked the ball showed he really cared, and I wasn't big on him after seeing his first game. Like quick to judge because he could go either way. He's one of those type of players, but I think he's going to be a really good player. Anytime he was near the ball, he just looked like he was trying so much harder than anyone else. And at the moment, that's what I'll take.
Yeah.
And good things actually happened around him. So I liked that. It was good to see Ridley back. I know there's a lot of people going, his body language was shit. Because in the media, we're talking about him wanting to leave. It's always been his body language.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's
not a natural, like, on-field leader.
No.
He just leads by his play.
But just watching the way he would intercept mark, feed his man, he's still our most important player. I know Merritt's our best, but for me, Ridley's still our most important. I wouldn't begrudge him for leaving either, with his body and seeing Draper on the screen playing and not being injured, and the same with Danaher. So I get that, but still, we hope we get what he's worth back because he's a tremendous player.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I've sort of checked out of him. I don't hate him at all. I've got to make that clear, but I just can't, like, he's not even in my future plan. So it's sort of like watching a witch's hat sort of go around now.
Yeah. We can go to the bads, but they make me sad because I'm a bit worried with some of these bads.
Yeah. What worries you the most?
Well, look, we'll get to the 12 players with 1 tackle or less, which is unacceptable.
How does that happen when you're 1-16? Like, how do you not have the hunger to win and to just do the basics of, like, just being so hungry that you want the footy more than anyone else?
Yeah, I don't think we've taken the shackles off, which you typically get with the interim coach, the caretaker coach.
Yeah.
It seems like we're trying to do too much. And all you have to see is the magnets flying around to get some evidence that Solomon's maybe a bit of an overthinker. Harry Jones starting full back, persisting with Mackay at forward. Reid went up forward in the last quarter.
Yeah. What's Blackiston doing? I have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, less than 70% game time. So he's finding his way out.
Caldwell still like...
Well, that's the one I was going to get to. That's the one that makes me the saddest. I'm really worried about Jai.
He's more worried about his bloody Instagram than he is about playing. No, I'm dead serious about this. Like, he posted this whole thing about the lead up to his 100, and there's all these curated photos, and half of them are fucking grainy and whatever. Again, just like, you're 1-16. You're like, your 100th doesn't matter. Like, this mentality, it just shows me that we just have this such singular mentality. It's a one for all. It's not all for one. It's just about the individual. I'm an AFL player, whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares really what's happening on the field? People commenting on his thing, like, it's really sad. He's a below average AFL player this year.
Yeah, I can't think of too many teams he'd be in the best 22 in at the moment, the way he's playing. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we dropped him this week. I mean, he first game back, he looked rusty, but he didn't get near it enough. Like, Kako was very rusty. So first game back, I'm not going to be...
But if you don't get near it, you get heaps of tackles. Remember, there was a period of like 5 games in a row when he had that good season where he was getting 20 and 10 and not like 20 touches, 10 tackles.
Caldwell?
Yeah, that was what he was doing. He was a tackling machine.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm genuinely worried. Like, if he's not an AFL player, let alone a B, potential perennial A, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
He's our highest paid player this year. We've invested a lot in him. He gets gifted a game.
Yeah. He had one of his road to 100 photos on Instagram that I was referencing was in a studio, South Yarra. Which, again, I don't know why
he's got good taste.
He's got good taste. I don't know why that Instagram post annoys me so much, but it does, because it's sort of the opposite of Caddy in a way where, like, Caddy's at least publicly frustrated, and I think he's not, like, I think he was one of the negatives. On the weekend, yeah. I And I don't think it's necessarily him. I actually think it's it just shows our lack of coaching. I haven't watched a caddy game and looked at something he's done and go, oh, that's improved from when he came into the league or when the year started. He's playing on pure natural ability, and a lot of what he does happens when the game's now not in the balance. When the game's in the balance, he's either missing goals he should be kicking, which he's now done for 5 or 6 weeks in a row, or he's running under the footy. One of the things I've noticed is he goes to mark almost like he's doing a triple jump. It's just before he goes up, he takes these like 1, 2 big steps. It's not a natural motion of trying to read the ball. It's just being athletic.
But that's how he tries to mark every ball. So is Caddy the problem, or the all the blokes kicking it to him?
It's a bit of both though. Like you have
They're trying to drill it at him.
He needs
Just
to
pop it up a
also
little bit.
react and change. Like I haven't actually noticed any of his key skills, whether it's one-on-one positioning, whether it's how he leads towards the ball. I haven't actually noticed them improve. I just think he was at that level when he came in. This goes back to the development thing.
Well, yes, and big on that. That's the issue. We'll talk about that in Q3.
Yeah. But that frustrates me, and like I think as well we can blame development on coaches, which we can, but for the really talented players, they should be hungry enough to develop themselves.
There's the siren.
There's the siren.
Great to have it live. Look, kick after the siren. That is the first time I don't know how to articulate this well. I've never been so bored at a live game watching my own team the way we played. It was so uninspiring. The kick, chip, turnover.
Yeah, and no hunger to chase, tackle, shepherd, the things that lift you, even as a fan.
Yeah. If Solomon's even tapped on the shoulder to be coach.
Yeah, it's a disgrace.
Yeah.
And I like him. I like the way he speaks or whatever, but he's not capable for the role. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah. We can't be that broken that, we don't get a little bounce.
Yeah.
Let's look forward, because I can't imagine we can play any worse.
Yeah. 1:45, the non-traditional Sunday 3:15 time slot. Nowhere near as traditional as the 1:15 Saturday MCG time slot.
Yeah.
But something to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go support the boys. Look, I'll go and just look at Roby again. I can't believe how big he is. Every time I see him live.
He is. He's held. I mean, he had a few, where he got dispossessed, but he still looks like a man that should be playing against men, which I can't say about like a lot of our players. And he finds a way to get his arms up, or at least does. Again, some of these.
He's great in traffic.
Yeah,
he's really good in traffic. People just seem to fall off him.
Yeah.
I can't get out of my head how many tackles got broken, but we're looking forward now.
Yeah.
We're looking forward. Ins and outs.
Yeah, so who's our forced outs? Do we have any?
No. Well, Redmond did look dead and then came back on and potentially is alive. So
Yeah.
I don't think we've got any forced outs, but we do have some selection.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's rare that we record the pod on a Thursday, but we had 4 ins.
Yeah,
I
so
believe.
Huss is omitted.
Yeah.
We know that already.
Yeah.
Which I'm a bit surprised with.
Well, he was one of my 2 goods.
I know.
I just want to say, this just wouldn't happen if I was president. Like, part of building a culture is that you have to reward success and then disincentivize bad performance.
Can't drop the whole team.
You can't drop the whole team, but you can't drop people that were in your top performers when they're still young and we still haven't figured out exactly what they have to offer. It's just so baffling to me. But we do this all the time. We always have our scapegoats that we drop, and no matter what, we go, oh, that was a disappointing loss. Oh, yeah, those 3 players are in. 1 or 2 or 3 of them are going to be dropped.
It's a good point. Like, it's the high draft pick tag that you get. You just get more chances.
You get more chance. But
so Huss played better than Kako. We can all agree on that.
100%.
Right?
100% he did. And
not just because of the goals. Like, they both didn't get any tackles.
But then that's not to like take over this preview, but isn't that the problem though? You come in as, let's say you're Jacob Farrow. Let's say you're Max, the Greek freak who's included in the long list. Let's say you're one of the VFL players pushing for selection. And you look at that and you go, I could play well and I'm not guaranteed my spot.
Yeah.
What sort of confidence does that like fill you in the system and really wanting to be in the team? And then when you're in the team, really wanting to go, like, this is the problem when you don't have a performance culture. you can say that we're building for X and there's this thing happening in the background, but if it's not a visible performance culture to the rest of the team, like you lose a lot of what high performance drives. And that's what really worries me about these type of decisions.
Well, I agree. I don't want to see too many changes, and that's not based on the performance of the upcoming game. I actually just want to give these players, I want to see these players play 8 games in a row together.
Yep.
Start to learn how to kick to caddy and kick to each other, because what was glaringly obvious being there live is we don't run hard either way because we're just not confident in the outcome.
Yeah.
And that's only going to happen by playing with your players more. So we've got Huss out. The 2 outs I'd like to see. One is Blackiston. You alluded to it. I don't really know. I don't really know what his role is. Is he helping us stay into games? Is he taking us forward? He's not. So I'd like to see him out. And we've tried him in every position on the ground now. Harry Jones, probably time to have a spell. Like, he's contracted for another year. He's coming back from a gruesome injury. We want him to be good because he's a very likable player. And once again, seeing him live, I can see why they persist with him, because he's a big frame. He does have a bit of presence, but he's just not doing anything near the ball. So yeah. They're the outs. Is anyone else out for you?
No,
To the ins?
I mean, there's not, like you said, we can't get rid of the whole team. Like, we still need players to play. Like, yeah, I think, look, Blackiston's the type of player that we should have is like so far in our depth that you bring him in for only a specific role.
Yeah.
That's it. Probably very similar now that we've forced ourselves to be linked to Harry Jones. Probably similar. Like, I don't want to see him in the team unless it's like this exact role's open up and the first 2 people that usually get that role are also injured.
Yeah.
So I think they're player number 28 to 32.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with that. The rest of the players that are in the team, I still think we have to find out what they're made of. Because the backs are against the wall.
Yeah, I agree. So the outs, we've got Huss, we've got Harry, and we've got Blackiston. In isn't a like positionally. So first in is Peter Wright. I saw his back.
Yeah.
Let's get him in straight away.
Got to.
He was in great form.
He was in great form. Yeah, and he was your smoky for captain. The left footer.
It was. Peter Wright coming in. We didn't have any run off the half back, which is crazy when we're playing Zach Merritt down there for some reason.
It's not edited out. Where were we? So first, we had the first in. So Peter Wright's in. Who are the other 2 in?
Peter Wright's in. We had no run off the half back, which is crazy when Zach Merritt's down there, supposed to be doing that. But he isn't. He doesn't do that. Like, he doesn't run. Like, he's a good.
He's not. His head's not in the game as well. Like, he gets it.
I don't buy into that.
And no, he gets it, and he's like, there's more fumbles than I've seen this year from Zach Merritt than I saw in 10 years.
That is true, actually. That is true.
There's more missed targets I've seen this year than I've seen in 10 years of Zach Merritt. So, like, that's purely, again, when your head's not in the game. So, I still would keep him there. I'd rather, I still want to develop our actual talent in the midfield.
Well, no, I want him to go to half forward and back in the midfield, because maybe we keep him. Who knows? Because I don't think there's going to be a good deal out there. So we're probably going to have to keep him. Who do I want? El Akar? No. Yeah. His name's great. Let's get it. Thanks, producer Oracle. I want El Akar in coming off the half back with a bit of run. And another in. Who do you got? You could
just throw a raffle. Maybe play the Greek Freak again. I don't know. Like, yeah, I think give him another go. I think he's still raw enough that he might not know our system well enough to fall into
I
it.
give you more time. I actually want to see if Peter Wright's coming in, he'll be playing a bit forward. I want to throw Ben Mackay back. I want to see Nick Cox in. I thought he was actually a little stiff to get dropped because he's been dropped, he's yo-yoed in and out and played good games both times going to the VFL. He played good again on the weekend, playing a little bit more up forward. So I actually want him to find a role up forward. There's no reason he can't be a good forward or a good back. I don't know why we've persisted with him only on the wing.
Yeah. Well, again, last chance saloon. There's 8 rounds in the season. Might as well put him somewhere where he can potentially find a best 22 spot. I'm not confident because we've knocked the confidence out of all of these players. It's very different going back to the twos and playing well, but might as well.
I would have said Tom Edwards, but he did an Essendon and got injured for 4 weeks.
Yeah, which kills us. And Nguyen wasn't picked, obviously.
Oh, maybe he could come in.
Yeah, I mean, again,
He'll tackle.
I see so much, and I'll get to it in quarter 4, but just frustrates me that players like him and Huss are the ones that always get left out of the team because they're not big profile names and they're tight, smaller players. Well, we're relatively positive outlook for the game. Quick after the siren predictions. The Oracle did tell us that he thinks there were a sneaky chance, which means we're 100% not.
Yeah, Essendon by 16 points.
Essendon, you love starting a prediction with Essendon by. Somehow I'm the one who's turned into living in the real world after my last 15 years of following this club. Just a vintage 6 or 7 goal loss for Essendon. Yeah. Great. That's our areas because what happens is they get up by 7 goals.
Yeah.
And then we just maintain that because they've taken the foot off the gas. That's our areas.
They've got a lot of outs.
Yeah, but they're just, as long as Nas is playing.
Oh, true.
It doesn't matter. Like, he will beat us on his own.
I'm calling it now. It's the Nick Bryan game.
Well, what? It's never been said before and might never be said again. All right. Quarter 3. This is the only reason we're doing the pod because you can live without talking about North or St Kilda. But tell us where you went last night, Ryan.
Last night.
And with your father, I believe.
With my father.
Shout out to Mark Irwood, an avid
listener.
Staunch listener of the Bring Back and the Red and Black pod.
Yeah, he is. He bought me a ticket to an open mic night down at Seaford Hotel with the great Matthew Lloyd and James Hird.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable timing.
Yeah, incredible timing with everything's going on.
Yeah.
Matthew Lloyd, of course, an incredible and esteemed head coach of Haileybury.
Yep. Talk to that a bit.
Yeah, and then James Hird needs no introduction.
Yeah. The Haileybury stuff's a good one to talk to Lloydie about because there's no Haileybury have the most AFL players currently playing. So he's been there 4 to 6 years, 4 years. He's seen a lot of AFL players recently. So yeah, good person to talk to.
I've never heard the raps on a high school coach like I have on Lloydie and the type of regime that he puts in. Not just that the players like him, like there's a lot of coaches that players like. Apparently, like the way that he runs the club is like almost exactly the blueprint of the type of coach.
Yeah,
I would want. Yeah, it's run like an army.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like properly, like things are done on such a process driven, such a feedback driven, such a performance driven culture. And then the coaches, there's Pendlebury and Hooker. Our assistant coaches there. It's a pretty stacked lineup, and you just listen and you learn.
I'm not surprised at that level. Like even last night, heard he talking about why Lloydie's the best player he's ever played with. It's just his work ethic.
Yeah,
to getting better and always trying to find different ways to get better. Like even he was just talking about no matter who he was playing on, he needed a way to beat them. So whether he was playing on the bigger players like your Mick Martins, he's like, well, I'm going to be the fittest forward there is.
Yeah.
When he outran those players and the Glenn Archer would go on him, like, well, I need to be stronger so I can beat them. It was amazing to hear just in the way he thinks about that. But outside of the only other thing I got from Lloydie before I talk about the great man is he mentioned that Welsh 4 weeks ago has hooked him up with Caddy, which is quite exciting.
Okay. As in, so like they're just texting now.
They're catching up and he's doing some personal coaching with him.
Great. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Because I haven't seen improvements in the areas. I've just seen one of the most naturally talented, athletic type forwards.
Yeah, and he is such a big rap on Caddy's mentality. Like he said, he loves Essendon. Like he did allude, like he'd be worried that if we keep performing this way, it'd be hard to not go look at the money. But he kind of inferred that they had that conversation, and he genuinely thinks he's the person that can make Essendon great again. And he was just talking. He was shocked with how much of a student of the game Caddy is.
Yeah,
he was talking about, like, he'd ask him who's playing this week, and he'd talk for 5 minutes around his opponent and the way he thought he was going to play him. So I think he's just in that development phase where he's overthinking, because you can kind of tell, like, he's going into his man first rather than ball first. Yeah, which happens, but he cares, and he's got the athleticism.
But there's no one coaching him. Like, that's where a good, like, imagine if Matthew Lloyd was there on the sidelines or a quarter time, like a proper coach. Anyway,
well,
something to solve down the line.
I think it's a bigger. And they heard he did say this as well, and I'll get into the Hurdy's. Like, he's saying a lot of very intelligent coaching things. He made the great point. It's like the team needs to help him out more, because look at where Caddy's kicking all his goals from.
Yeah,
he has, all he can do is lead into the pockets with how slow we're moving it.
Yeah.
So he's like, look, you need to, if you've got, like, play to your strengths, play to your players up there. If you've got a guy like Caddy, let's move it quicker. Just give it a bit of air and let him run onto it. The other thing Lloyd was saying is he wants to see Caddy play up the ground a little bit more to get into the game.
The Don was going to talk about that deeply in quarter 4.
Yeah. So I imagine we'll see that. Hopefully they're talking to Solly. But how's the timing? Seeing her the day he made it clear that he had spoken to the club. So it was very funny. Like, when they came in, Lloydie straight away is like, let's cut the crap. Hurdy, like, well, let's rip the Band-Aid off. So it was good. They got straight into it. And it wasn't as straight bad as I thought. Hurdy was really funny about it all.
Yeah.
He had a really good bit to kick off. I don't think this was off the cuff. I'd imagine he's going to run with this a little bit, but had this really good bit around the criteria and being an Essendon man and bleeding red and black. So he's like, oh, Lloydie, what's the criteria? He's like, I don't know. All I know at the moment is the criteria is being an Essendon man. So if I was writing the criteria, I'd say 250 games at Essendon, Brownlow medal, 2 premierships. It was very funny. It was a good little bit. You could tell, like, with jokes like that, he really, really wants to be coach.
Yeah.
Which
I love. He's got charisma coming out of his ass as well.
I couldn't believe how well he spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like an 8-year-old. I was like giddy watching him out there.
What were the main things that, like, stood out? You said he was pretty open.
Yeah, no, he was. I've taken notes. So I'm going to look at my phone. There was no phones there last night, so I had to remember this in the shocker notes. He talked about the process. He didn't let too much on, but he essentially said there's going to be 10, 15 people they're going to interview, and then that'll just be a chat, really.
Yeah.
And then the top 3 from that will get to present. Then he had a good bit around, he probably won't dust off his last presentation. It didn't get him too far.
Yeah. He lost to Brad Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that one would still hurt the ego,
Yeah. So once again, he didn't let on too much around the criteria or anything like that. Mentioned he hasn't spoken to any players, said he has spoken to some staff, but once again, he's really unclear from the club if he can bring people, which I imagine would be a really important thing for him to know going into a presentation. And he'll probably ask this in his interview, but hey, you've got staff already. Who's employed, who's not? What's the budget I got to bring in with? Because the string to my bow is I can bring people with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
He didn't say who it was, but
it's a massive drawing card.
He made jokes. He made
coaches
jokes
and players.
Yeah, he made jokes. It was Lloydie, but I don't think that's going to happen. It could. Then, him getting onto what he would do as coach was the question, and he answered it. His biggest focus would be on development. Like, first they define a way to play, and he sort of went through some options around just how we set up defensively, whether a back half team, forward half team. Like, he did get a little bit technical there. Like, once we define the way we're going to play, you want to develop players and recruit players that play in that system. And it wasn't just to have the attributes to play into that. He also talked about, like, the relentlessness of the players that he wants, the personality traits as well. He made a really interesting point. Like, that is, he sees himself as a development coach. I think that's why he's doing it at Port Melbourne. Like, the stat he raised was it's a little known, but he developed, or the list he got, or over his tenure of coaching, 11 players went on to become All Australians.
Yeah, you mentioned this by the poll. That was a pretty surprising.
Yeah,
stat.
I'd love someone to write in if that's true. Pat checked it. I was trying to get to the 11. I didn't get to. I think I got to 8 off the top of my head. But
yeah,
Early, Hooker, Heppel, Sard went on. I think
Parrish.
Oh, Parrish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Merritt, Watson, Hibbard, Paddy Ryder. So like you get to that 11 pretty. Yeah. I think maybe obviously. Why would he lie? I was just a guy in the crowd. Why would he lie to me? He rates himself as a development coach. And that's when Lloyd was chiming in around guys he's coached. And he was talking about McDonald that plays for Hawthorn.
Yeah.
He had him at Haileybury. Essentially said he has no right to be as good of a player he is. He could not see that happening. Then he was talking around Mitchell, similarly, rates himself as a really good development coach.
Yeah.
Which Hurd agreed with. A lot of jokes around how much he hates Hawthorn, which was great.
Great. And hates Mitchell?
Really respects Mitchell.
Yeah. You can still hate people you respect.
He said he hates Hawthorn. But yeah, really he essentially said if Mitchell was coaching Essendon, a lot of players would be a lot better.
I absolutely agree with that. I hate Sam Mitchell, but there's just no way that's not true.
So I'll pause there, and I've got a few other things. But yeah, any questions so far?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. What was he critical of anything that's been done?
So critical. They were both so critical of the club. Yeah, it's. I was a little bit amazed. They're angry at the club.
Yeah,
they're really angry.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Yeah. So they alluded they've not set anyone up for success. They talked about. They got asked the Merritt question. They're like, yeah, Merritt's clearly the best player. They looked at each other. I couldn't tell you who the second best player is, which is fair.
Yeah.
Talked around how important it is to have leaders there.
That's a good point. What did they mention? Who do they think our leaders are? Do they think Zach Merritt's a good leader?
They said, Zach Merritt is a great leader. Because they were talking about each other, like when they first started their careers, that Lloyd came in and he could talked about 10 blokes he was training with, and talked about Hurd, how he just would run around with him at training, do anything Hurd would do. They're like, we don't have that at the moment. Well, we have that with Merritt. And that's why Hurd's like, I'm glad they kept him for that reason. Lloyd disagreed with keeping him, but that's one reason to keep a player like Merritt.
But not against their will is what I would argue. But
yeah, fair enough. I think they both agreed they trade him in this off season, but that's why Hurd was positive in keeping him. But he said, I don't know who they're looking up to. And someone in the crowd yelled at Sammy Durham. He's like, I rate him as a player, but he needs someone to look up to at the moment.
Did they mention anything on Andy McGrath?
No, name didn't get mentioned.
That's our captain.
Yeah.
Tell me something more telling than that. You have an open mic, 2 Essendon greats.
Yeah.
We have a current captain.
Yeah.
During our worst period, he doesn't even get mentioned or brought up.
No, not a heap of players got mentioned. The only other ones he mentioned, went out of his way, is next Jesus, Sully Roby.
Yeah. They like Sully?
They love him, yeah. And Sharpie.
Yeah.
Love Sharp.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that neither of them have played a good game yet, which is interesting, but he just mentioned a few things that he's seeing that he really likes. But yeah, that was the biggest thing. He'd come in and just focus on development.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good time for the Siren. I guess based on that, we asked you this question before the pod, but two-part question. One is, now are you even happier knowing that he's a candidate? And two, do you think he is by far the best candidate for the job?
I would be so excited if he was our coach. I would be so excited. Just someone that is going to care about development, let alone the sugar hit that we get with Hurdy coaching. The thing he said, which really stood out to me, was he feels he only got to coach for just under 2 years.
Yeah.
Because the rest
was tainted.
Was disaster management.
Yeah.
He couldn't go to training and coach. He was just consoling players, dealing
press
with the
conferences.
media.
Yeah.
That was his life. So a big driver for him is to show people that he can coach.
I know the Siren's gone, but it just feels like we're dancing around this subject again and just trying to make it look like we didn't just go and select James Hird. But it's funny, we would get more respect if we didn't do this, trying to be something that we're not, which is what we've done for the last 15 years. And if we just came out and said, you know what, the decision's made, we're backing him in, but we're still going to go through this process. And I'm pretty certain it's going to end up being James Hird.
It could be his idea to make sure that there's the process.
Yeah, maybe it helps everyone. I don't know. I think for him, I think he does have it, not in a healthy way. I think he is so hurt, as he should be, by what happened. Like you said, he doesn't feel like he got a good chance. I think his ego, I think he's got so much in his tank to prove.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be even cooler if it was just like everyone turned on Essendon more than what they have and be like, you guys didn't even run a process. You just went back to a old son and he just turned around the club. But anyway.
I think it's good to give him the confidence as well. Not that he needs it, but to know he beat people out. So I hope there's another big name as a candidate.
Yeah. Hopefully Longmire goes for it.
Yeah.
That would be great news for us.
Yep.
Now that we've announced this process.
Yeah.
All right. Quarter 4. Oracle. This is the Don's mailbag. What would the Don do? We can start with either one, because essentially after watching that game on the plane, I went to afl.com.au and I just looked how many rounds remaining. I'm like, please be less than 7. I just can't keep doing that. I just want to get to the end. But there were 8. There were 8 rounds remaining. So I just wrote down, okay, this is exactly what I would do with our list and our available players and how I would train and focus on the next 8 rounds. I can finish with that. Or we can start with what has become maybe one of the most popular segments on the internet. We've had to look at hiring a social media manager with the amount of questions coming into the Don's mailbag. We did put up the first 3 or 4, and then we realised we just don't have the bandwidth to be able to deal with it. So I think you've curated some of the, or I guess funneled through some of the best ones.
Yep. So, look, I think we're going to need to start with some questions.
Okay, great.
First is from Mark in Mount Eliza. So today it was reported that Essendon's talking to Lachie Neale and in both playing and then going into coaching, and then we've upped the offer to Jed Walter. So the question is, how do we stop these so-called leaks coming out of the club? And as president, how would you unite and stop white noise that currently exists?
Great question, Mark, from Mount Eliza. Firstly, I'm really happy with chatting to Lachie Neale. I mean, I think he's 10 times the players. I think he fits that senior role, been there, done that. And also, yeah, he's a bit of a CUNT, of which we don't have enough. I don't think enough of our blokes are doing what he's done in the off-season. Not that we condone that behaviour, but at least there's something coming out of that. But to answer Mark's questions, I think I do agree. There needs to be, and I keep talking about this performance culture, army culture. There needs to be a zero tolerance culture throughout the club. It's not just players. But if you are caught being someone, whether it's an official, whether it's a coach, whether it is a player that is part of a media leak, it needs to be an immediate ban. I don't believe in things being behind closed doors when you are not successful. When you have a membership base, when you have had such poor performance and been so poor at your output of your job, you have to show more transparency, which I've always talked about. If we catch players that are part of any sort of leaks, they are suspended. If they're internal, they are also suspended in some sort of way. And an immediate press conference is held and said, this person, they will return to the club. This isn't a fireable offence yet because it's the first time. But this is exactly the reason why they did it. Can you imagine how little leaks there would be after that, after you just make something public? I see no downside to that. What do you mean? This is not airing our dirty laundry. This is just very basic management of situations where people are doing what they shouldn't be doing. And so, again, we go back to transparency. That's exactly what I do. I would call it out publicly. Shame, name and shame. That's number one. Number two, was a question about uniting the white noise. This one's much harder. I don't think there is a solution to this because of social media. I think there was a solution to this in the 80s and 90s. I don't think you can sit there and say categorically, you can just be like, I block out the noise and do this, because any player at any time can be A, contacted by media, B, go onto any social media site. C, even if we blocked like in China and took away all their social media, there's still ways around that. I think what needs to be, I guess, done is comes back down to leadership. Is if you have those types of leaders at the club who be like, hey, I know you guys are going to check what's written about you. I know you can't do it, but you should be spending X% of your time, whether it's 5%, 2%, 3%, 5%, where we know you're going to check your social media. But if you're not spending this amount of time getting better at your craft, then that's the bigger problem. And I think that's where you can actually throw yourself into doing things where you actually have less time to worry about the white noise. So instead of going out there and saying, we don't listen to and eliminate it, which is bullshit, it's actually flipping it and going, we are going to listen to it because we're human beings, but we are now going to focus so much more on these performance aspects that we're going to judge our players on. And that's all that you can do to take up your time. So that's probably how I would handle it as president.
All right, just one more Don's mailbag before we hear your pitch for the last 8 weeks. It's an extension of Mark's question. So we have been pitching to Lockie Neal and Jed Walter. We don't have a coach. We're at the bottom of the ladder. Every time you put on a footy show, they're just getting stuck into how terrible we are.
Yeah.
So presumably Andrew Walsh or the president's meeting Jed Walter.
Yeah.
What's your 30-second elevator pitch? How do you pitch us when we don't even have a club and we're useless and we're going to finish wooden spoon? How do you pitch it? What's the sell?
For Jed or for Lockie Neal? Both. Well, I've said for both of them. You've had your share of Queensland birds. Come have Victoria birds. But no, in all seriousness, because they are different. They're Victorian and Queensland birds. Look, I think this is. If I'm pitching them as president, I need to be pitching them with, I guess, a coach and a supporting crew coming in place, because otherwise, to be honest, the pitch is going to fall pretty flat. I think you actually, again, talk about things that are transparent, which are really hard to say in this culture where we don't want to offend anyone, but say we currently have identified these 6 to 8 weaknesses in the team: leadership, development, coaching, forward coaching, intensity on game day, repeatability. We have the lowest defensive pressure in the league, etc. And you actually start with, we've identified all of those things, as opposed to what would normally be a pitch, which is, we're a big club, we have Nate Caddy, we can only go up from here, we've got Anzac Day, we've got the number 1 pick coming, HVH maybe's coming. No, start with, we hear it all. And actually, I'm telling you, there's more problems than what you see out there. But we are now actually going to outwardly commit to fixing those problems and not hiding behind a smokescreen. That's how I would start a pitch.
Can I send a mailbag
You
in
can.
just on the back of that?
Yes.
Yeah, you just got me thinking. With this week, we're tied to 4 players came out of sort of the blue this week. So let's say they're all true. Let's say Artie Jones, Jack Bowes, Lockie Neal, and Jed Walter all come in.
Yep.
And the number 1 pick, and let's say, like just those 5 players coming in. Are we still the worst team in the AFL?
No, we're not the worst team in the AFL. But here's the other thing I would actually use as a pitch now, especially to Jed Walter.
Where are we? Because
third worst.
The reason
Third
I
worst.
ask this is we're holding on to Merritt and Ridley in this situation, and Nick Martin's back. Thanks, Oracle.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who is actually the second. Richmond will still be worse than us next year. And then as it stands, I do think we can make a leap up the ladder. As it stands, maybe West Coast, maybe.
Okay.
So I think we're third worst.
So why do these moves if none of them are needle movers?
Because here's my pitch to Jed Walter and the rest of them. Look at Gold Coast. There is not one football pundit in the world who thinks that Gold Coast doesn't have a top 3 list in the AFL. Where are they on the ladder? They're 12th. They're out of the play-in right now. They started 2-0. They moved into premiership favoritism. They haven't had a worse injury run than anyone else. They've had some injuries, so has everyone. Their core of their midfield, outside of Morale coming in a few rounds late, has been there the whole time. The list on its own is just 1/7 or 1/8 of what you need to achieve success. And that's what everyone just worries about. yes, Brisbane has won the flag with the best list, but Gold Coast was coming into the year, was supposed to be the next heir apparent, has this unbelievable list, got this incredible coach, and it hasn't worked out at all. In fact, what they have, how many goals did they kick against Fremantle? Was it 4 for the game? 4 goals for the game with that level of talent. Talent on its own means nothing. What you have to identify, all clubs that are going through this, is that there are so many elements to success, and I think Collingwood identify it the best. They have, at best, the 6th best list when they won flags, sometimes the 8th or 10th best list. So it's not about needing to have the best list. It's about actually needing to get a key few players in place so that you're at least in the top 10 of lists. You've got to be in the top half. And then from there, there's so many other factors that come into play. But the pitch is, we're going to pay you more money. You're in a bigger club. We do have enough talent to be a top 10 list. And we've identified 6 to 8 of the most embarrassing and poor performing areas that we are now going to turn around the club with by publicly identifying them and being like, we are fixing these areas. And it's proven that you can win a flag without having a top 4 list. That's the pitch. All right, I don't think we have long in quarter 4, but it's after the siren. So let me quickly read out what I'd written, and these are the notes I wrote on the plane. I'd barely slept. I chose the egg over the ricotta cakes, for those wondering.
Both bad options.
I said we're playing Perkins, and if he's playing, he has to play in the midfield. I don't want him playing anywhere else. Sharp, also in the midfield, and I want McGrath in the midfield. I'm done with him down back. I actually think he's a better version of Parrish in the midfield of just getting the ball out and at least can get around people. I don't want to see Parrish anymore in the team. I would rather Roby and Durham taking those spots in the midfield. Caddy, play him centre-half forward the rest of the year. He's actually one of the best forward 50 entries we have. The 2 forward 50 entries on the weekend were 2 of the lowest kicks that we've kicked into the forward line for the last few weeks. Play him centre forward, more in that Jonathan Brown style role. And when Roby rests, I know you were frustrated about him, but play Roby at full forward. Who's going to take that man-child at full forward? Get some confidence into him. Play him one out there.
Yeah.
Play Huss and Kako for the rest of the season. Allow Farrow to go for a run. Instead of McGrath going on these sideways runs where the commentators lose it. Let Farrow... I saw Farrow lose a bit of confidence on the weekend. I'm really scared about that. Give him the ability to go out there and run. We're going to lose these games anyway. Challenge Caldwell. Say, what sort of player are you? If you're going to be this player, we don't want you at our footy club. And that's the big challenge we throw down there. And then give Sam Durham the keys to the kingdom. Say, you, in the same way of challenging Caldwell, Sam Durham, you need a leader. We don't have one for you right now. But let's throw you in the deep end and say, if you can prove yourself, you can be the next championship leader of this football club. And then the last 2 things I had here is anyone who deserves it, like a Nguyen or anyone playing well in the VFL, just give them the 3 games in a row. Don't bring them in and then drop them again. That's what I had for the rest of the year. I'm really, really passionate on a caddy centre forward, Roby resting in full forward when he's not playing in the midfield, and actually moving Perkins and McGrath into the midfield rotation.
I like it.
Yeah, there you have it.
The Don's been cooking.
The Don's been cooking, but they're not going to do any of that. So we can just watch what we have. Pryor down back doing whatever. Blackerson coming in and out of games. Perkins getting 11 touches and playing on when he shouldn't have. And that's all we have for the next 8 rounds.
Look, I'm inspired after seeing the great man last night, Hurdy. I hope he is listening. I hope his little spies are out there. Bring back Hurd.
Bring back Hurd and bring back the red and black. We'll see you on Sunday.